You may disagree, but up to me, it's a fact. You're paying running backs, it ain't no fun in that. Yeah, the sermon about to start, so I hope you know your stats. And if Kev get it wrong, then Rashad on his back with the facts. Matter of fact, all we do is say wins. When wings, congregation say amen. Trades, debates, wins, losses, the latest news, bruh. Prophet Kev speak, you got him saying hallelujah.
Welcome to Preach Kev, Preach with Rashad. We are the prophets. In an episode, another sermon coming at you from Wildcard Sports here on Wildcard TV. Rashad, what's going on?
Hey man, we back. Had a little time off, but we back at it. NBA draft. We got free agency. Got the Olympics. It's a summer full of basketball news, man.
Yeah, we getting right into it. We got a guest with us today, Vice President of Off the Ball Network. We had Chris on a couple times, so we had to bring the next guy on. Man, Mo, what's going on?
What's going on, bro? I appreciate y'all for having me on, bro. I've checked out y'all show. Kev, we've had a conversation on Chris' show. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm honored for y'all to have me on y'all show. So I definitely return the favor, and we'll figure out the right time to get y'all on mine too.
Oh yeah, appreciate that, man.
We're glad to have you, bro.
Yeah, 100%. Appreciate it.
I know y'all was going a little real hard during the draft. I think y'all had like mock drafts like every week leading up to it. So I know we didn't really get into all the draft stuff, but you know, the big names, the Cade Cunninghams, the Evan Mobleys, pretty much I guess the top three were going to be the top three. I think that was pretty much throughout the whole kind of process. Those three guys was going. But so we got Cade in Detroit. He looked like to be is he going to be the savior of that? You got Jalen Green going down to Houston, and then Evan Mobley teaming up with Jonathan Allen, not Jonathan Allen, Jared Allen. Not Jonathan, DC. Jared Allen. You know, that front court down there in Cleveland. So, any thing from those three guys as far as like, you know, do you see superstardom? You see all-star potential, Hall of Fame? What you got by those three guys?
I say all-star. I don't want to put no superstar label on nobody. I don't, you know what I'm saying? I can't put Cade in the Hall of Fame before he even play a game. I mean, we've seen guys go number one and be bust. I don't think that'll be Cade, but you know, I see all-star potential for all of them, multiple all-star appearances. I think they could be the face of their respective franchises. So, you know, just like we look at Zion and Luka and Trae Young, I think those three guys will be that for Detroit, Cleveland, and Houston. But other than that, I mean, yeah, like I said, I don't ever want to jump too early and call nobody no Hall of Famer, no superstar. I gotta at least see your first year, you know, like I can start judging what I think I see from LaMelo and them now. But even still, so I do see multiple all-stars. And I see a couple other guys that'll be like very important pieces that got taken a little bit later that, you know, there's one guy I think he could end up being better than all of them.
Sure, what you got?
Interesting draft. I'm still waiting to see how some previous drafts kind of shape up compared to this one. I mean, they got, you know, like you said, superstar potential. That's kind of how they're pegging it. You got some guys saying that this is one of the deeper drafts since like 2003. I think that's a stretch to go that far. But I will say we are due for a draft class that kind of transforms the NBA. You look at 96, that was Nash, Kobe, AI, Marcus Camby, Ray Allen, all those guys in 96. Those guys kind of shaped the NBA for that next decade or so. Of course, you had the 03, that's Bron, Wade, Bosh, Melo, some of the role players in that, you know, so that kind of shaped the league for like the next 10 years. And then you kind of get to the 09 class, the Harden, Stephs, DeMar DeRozan, Drew Holiday, Blake Griffin. And that kind of shaped the league for the next, 5-17 years. So I'm waiting to see what's the next one. You know, is it the Luka, Trae, Ayton class, or is it going to be one of the ones after those guys? But we're right in that time frame, that 7 to 10 year time frame where another draft class will start to shape the league. So maybe it's this one, maybe it's the Luka, Trae, DeAndre Ayton class, maybe it's another one. You know, that's been recent. So all these guys are young. Let's just see how it shapes out. I thought the draft was kind of chalk for the most part, though. I mean, the top three went where they were kind of slotted to go. The Scotty Barnes over Suggs was somewhat surprising, but I thought he was going back to Orlando.
I was about to ask you about that. Like, what y'all think about that? Like they compare Scotty Barnes to what Draymond, the guy that a power forward, small forward who can facilitate and play defense, stuff like that. When you already have an OG in Siakam, and when you see those kind of drafts, those picks happen, you get your mind racing. Like, okay, does that mean Siakam going to be on the way out pretty soon, and they got the replacement, or they're going to use all three guys at the same time? Especially when we'll get into free agency later. When you had your point guard being rumored to everywhere but Toronto, you didn't take the best point guard on the board at the time. So that was what really shake the draft up and could change Toronto's and the Orlando Magic like trajectory going forward, because is Jalen Suggs a part of this point guard barrage that we got in the NBA? Or do you get somebody who can do it all like a Scotty Barnes, and he take Canada to obviously can't do it with Kawhi Dub, but we never know.
Yeah, I mean with Jalen Suggs, that was a surprise. You said it earlier. You thought the first 3 picks was a lock. I thought the first 4. I thought Suggs, it was a foregone conclusion he was going to Toronto. Like you said, it looked like Kyle Lowry was out of there. So that's kind of. It was a surprise, and then I thought he might even slip even further. I ain't know if Orlando would go after him, because they got Cole Anthony just traded for RJ Hampton. They have Markelle Fultz. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, there's a lot of ways they could have maybe a Jonathan Kuminga. There was a few players they could have got. I'm kind of surprised, but at the same time, like when a player like Suggs with the projection and the trajectory that he has falls to you, sometimes you got to take best player available. You figure out everything else later. And so I think that's what Orlando did. They got 2 guards in their starting lineup, and they'll have 2 guards coming in their second lineup. So I think they'll be very tough as a young team. But I am surprised Barnes went over Suggs. To me, Suggs being a point guard or former, all-star talent at quarterback, so he has the mentality, he has the toughness. I was just surprised that Toronto overlooked all that with pretty much preparing to lose Kyle Lowry anyway. I was just surprised they looked anywhere other than point guard with Suggs falling to him.
It kind of made sense, like just because they already have Van Fleet locked up. Of course, they made the trade for Gary Trent, so you knew they were going to sign him back. So, just backcourt wise, it kind of made sense. And then they still, may make some other moves in the free agency market. So it kind of made sense. Like to me, the draft is starting to pick 6. I mean, the first 5 that went, I had those same first 5 on like the board, whatever. It just the 4 and 5 were spot. I thought they would have went Suggs too because of the Lowry thing, but to see them take Barnes, I wasn't highly alarmed by it just because of what they already have in the making. Siakam maybe getting traded. You already have the Kyle Lowry thing happening. So, with Trent, Van Fleet already kind of waiting in the wings, I didn't really see it as a big deal to pass on Suggs. Now, if Suggs goes on to become an all-star and all that, and Barnes flame out at his rookie deal, hindsight to be bad. But I thought just for what they have going on, it wasn't a big deal.
Yeah, I'm hoping the Magic don't turn into the Hornets with all that damn drafting the big men, all these damn guards. Like I think they got Michael Carter Williams on the roster too. I think he's still on the team too. So you got a lot of point guards. But maybe I said this on Twitter. I was like, best player available mean 2 different things. Either your team is so talented that it don't matter who you draft, or your team is so bad you need anybody. So imagine point. I think the latter is for that one. When you traded Aaron Gordon, Vucevic, you traded Fournier away, so you completely rebuild. So we'll see. Suggs probably the best player on the team. Like that's what we're coming to right now.
Before we transition, I thought Chris Duarte was a good little steal at pick 13 for the Pacers too. I mean, they normally develop pretty good, so I thought that was a good little steal for the Pacers.
Who you had as the best player that could be better than K? You kind of mentioned that a little bit there.
Man, I'm kind of high. I'm high on Kuminga, and then him going to the Warriors. I know he's a little more raw than Cade, but I think like the max potential. If I could get the Hall of Fame version of both of them, I think Kuminga would be, if I get the best player he could possibly be, I think he'll be a little bit better than Cade. And I think he's in a little bit better situation to develop. Cade's coming in expecting to save a franchise. Kuminga coming in as a role player behind a team with two, a superstar, two other all-stars. You still got Andrew Wiggins. You got another former number 2 pick, James Wiseman, that they'll be dependent on before they depend on either Moses Moody or Kuminga. So I think he's going to have a little more time to develop. So I think his first year or two, he'll kind of be off in the shadows. He'll be a really good, 6-man, first, second guy off the bench type of player. But I think if both of them reach their max potential, I do think Kuminga could end up being the best player out of this draft.
I like that. Let's go ahead and transition. We'll stay with the team we're talking about to the free agency. The Warriors, they Steph Curry, man. Oh man, that bag was marvelous. I think it was over $200 million. I think Rashad, I seen you talked about how he's getting the rewards from when he was too good and he wasn't making nothing. So it kind of gave everything on the back end. So Warriors got their point guard locked up for the next what was it, 4 years, 5 years deal. So he'll be. I mean, that's pretty much it for Steph Curry. Steph Curry is going down as one of the guys that's going to stay with the team for the whole career. I don't see him leaving now. So with the Warriors, like you said, talk about them drafting of Moody, drafting of Kuminga. They signed Otto Porter Jr. I thought that might have been a very underrated signing. I know they got a lot of wings. They're gonna play a lot of small ball. I see it in the future. So Warriors, man, Steph Curry getting the bag. You got, like you said, you had a lot of picks and coming back. The Warriors looking like they might be right back.
Yeah, the West is gonna be pretty competitive.
Man, the NBA gonna be competitive. I mean, I think the Warriors coming into the draft and free agency was in the best position. When you got your starting 5 intact, I mean, I know everybody was like, are they gonna trade for Dame? Are they gonna trade for Bill? Ultimately they didn't. When you got your starting 5 intact, you expect Klay to come back healthy. You got Steph, Klay, Wiggins, Draymond, and Wiseman. You got 2 lottery picks, and you could dibble and dabble, got some money to go in free agency with a whole starting 5 that you expect. That's why I said they were dangerous. And yeah, they could have traded for Bradley Beal, but like you got to look at Steph getting older. Klay's coming off of 2 back-to-back injuries. Draymond's game has dipped a little bit. He's getting older. I don't know how well his game will age as he gets up in his 30s. So you can trade for Bradley Beal. You can win the championship now. And then, as everybody else start flaming out, I don't think Golden State has ever been the biggest free agent destination besides the fact of having Steph Curry. They were able to get a Kevin Durant, but prior to that, they weren't getting a lot of big-time players. So I do think the way they went about it, maybe they make a splash with getting Kuminga and Moody. Maybe they trade Wiseman and Andrew Wiggins if a player does really want out, whether it's Dame or Bill. But I think what they did is not only are they competitive now, but they also have a future to build on with their 2 lottery picks now, Jordan Poole, and then obviously James Wiseman with their draft pick from last year. So I think they got a team to build on for the future while still being competitive and could win a championship this year.
Yeah, the Warriors, they aren't done. But I'll just hit the Steph Curry point first. He's going to more likely retire a Warrior. I mean, pretty much he's just getting all his money on the back end. He was hurt early in his career the first couple of years with the ankle stuff, so he really didn't make the big money. Of course, that kind of paved way for KD to come. You get you got 1 on the front end and you got 2 with KD. So 3 championships, you sign 1 max deal. You just signed your 2nd max deal. I don't foresee him ever getting traded. He's going to fall in that class of the Duncans, the Kobe's, the Dirks, Reggie Millers, 1 franchise your whole career, multiple time champion, multiple time MVP. I mean, the accolades are there. 3-point records, he gonna have all them to himself. So he's basically staked this legacy. All he's doing now is just stat pad pretty much. You got the legacy. By the time the contract ends, that'll be 17 years completed. If his body holds up, he may do 1 more contract, another 1 to 3 year deal to make it to 20 seasons. You just never know. With the way the game is played, no hand checking, no hard fouls. His game is, he moves a lot, so his body could break down from all the running and stuff like that. I mean, you always just one twisted ankle or one bad knee injury away. But hopefully we get to enjoy him for the next, 4 or 5 years with his last year on the current deal, the new 4 years, and let's see how it plays out. Of course, he's an avid golfer and stuff like that, and he got a nice, lovely family. So at some point, he will want to hang it up and go spend time with his family, watch his kids grow up. But for right now, I mean, we got him for the next 5 years. Let's enjoy the Steph barrage. And of course, with the rest of the roster, I still think they in play. They may try to go get Ben just to kind of add another little piece to the roster. I don't see Wiggins starting the year on that roster. So Wiggins and some other things gonna probably get dangled for another piece. But right now, the way the roster is shaped up, if Clay can come back and be one of the top 5 2 guards in the league, if Draymond can give you just one more elite year, they should be one of the top 2 or 3 teams in the West.
I would say, long as Draymond continue to give you triple singles, you got a long way to go. But I like the Ben Simmons point, because I mean you do have, because like Mo said, you building for now and for later, and that's what like a lot of teams are, like the Lakers are messing up on, like signing all these 35 plus guys. When remember we had a conversation. I was like, man, before Russ got there, I was saying like the Lakers really sorry as hell. Like, it's a reason why when Davis and Braun was down, they had nothing. Like, you was relying on Schroeder to be your best player on the franchise. And when you think about it like that, you're not going nowhere. I mean, you're lottery at the best. And it's like, unless you prepare for the future at the same time staying in this window, that's how you got to do it. And the Golden State Warriors are showing like you still got one of the best players in the league. You got great, his supporting stars are great for him, and then you add in the Wiggins, who can go give you 20 points just consistently, and we never know what Wiseman can bring. Like, Wiseman could be this god talent, next season, and we just don't know right now. And that could be like Mo said, the championship. Like, they go right to the championship easily if the Kumingas and the Moody's and Wiseman turn up. So, We'll see what the Warriors going to do. The Wiggins for Ben making a lot of sense. I just want to ask y'all, what the hell Six is doing? Why the hell they saw Drummond? Anybody figure that out yet? Because I'm seeing like they signed a vet man. Rashad, we have to do some self scouting, because it wasn't too long ago we ranked Drummond as a top 5, like in a top 5 center at least, and now it's like he get a vet man. Oh, a backup?
I mean, I don't know, man. Like, I need to find out who his agent is, because his agent ain't doing him no favors. That move to LA didn't do him any favors either, because I mean he didn't look good playing with the Lakers, and then now you're going to Philly to back up Embiid. Yeah, Embiid missed a lot of time, but it's just I don't really know where they're going with this. For like a 1-year deal, you're not really chasing a title in Philly. Like, if Philly stays pat, they'll still be a playoff team, but will they get out the first or second round? I don't know. But yeah, this is it's a weird move, a weird fit. I mean, Drummond's skill set is, feel like a 15 to 15 guy. He good on defense and everything, but I'm not sure what the reason is for joining Philly. Like, I know when guys get bought out, there are certain contracts you can and can't sign just because of it's just weird stuff like that. But to go to Philly, I mean, I'm not sure why.
At least go to, like, if you're going to take, all right, he probably he want to win, right? At least go to Denver, where at least the other center can stay on the perimeter the whole time and actually be effective the whole game. Like, I just don't see a lineup where you putting Drummond and Embiid on the court, let alone Ben Simmons with the two. Who like, that's just I don't know what, because Daryl Morey going from small ball to giant ball. Like, I don't get his plan. It almost got me thinking, are they gonna trade Embiid? Like, that's like in my back of my head. Like, are we, like, does he just got Drummond to get the 15 and 15 and trade Embiid? I don't know for who. Obviously, that's a dumb decision, but I mean, I don't know, because they asking for God for Ben Simmons. So what they gonna ask for Embiid? You know.
I wondered the same thing. I saw a report that said, and I don't know, you see a lot of rumors and stuff, but it said like Embiid, they be willing to trade Embiid. So I'm like, okay, well, like you said, they asking for the world, the moon, and the stars for Ben Simmons. So I know Embiid got to be worth like a galaxy on top of that.
Right.
Like, because what Ben Simmons, that I'm wondering what Philly's doing by not getting rid of Ben Simmons at this point. He should be gone. Like, he should have been gone pre-draft. I think he wants out. I don't think it makes any sense for him to start. If I'm Ben Simmons, I almost come to the point I don't even want to play in Philly. And like, he does have the power. I understand, you lose some money in the long run and whatever. But if he feel like he can prove his point of what we say about him and he don't want to work hard or whatever, he can say, I'm not playing. Like, I will not play another game in a Philly jersey. I just think that relationship is broken. Mm-hmm. So I feel like for them asking way too much, I feel like you're supposed to aim high, but have a settling ground. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's just like bargaining. Like, I'll bargain, but when I aim high, but I got to settle. I have a settling spot. Mm-hmm. So I see if I get that, but if I'm willing to negotiate for lower. So I don't know, because Ben Simmons and Drummond on the court at the same time ever makes absolutely zero sense ever. Like, I don't care if they trade Embiid, them two on the court makes zero sense. So I'm not understanding the Drummond signing unless they talking about trading Simmons and Embiid and seeing how much they could get for the future. They sign Drummond for a vet man, and I don't know, maybe they just blow it up and get rid of Tobias Harris too and figure they could get a bunch of assets, maybe an all-star caliber player between giving up Embiid or Simmons. I'm sure you'll get an all-star caliber player for, like Joel Embiid, but I'm not fully sold on what Philly really. I don't think they know what they want to do.
There's no, because I seen the rumors about Tobias Harris being on the block. I'm like, well, somebody got to go. There's no way you run it back again. We realized, because Rashad, we had this conversation about like who would you rather have, like, and for the bigs, it's like, okay, outside of Jokic, Embiid, like, well, the big is literally taking their team like from the bottom to the top. Like, AD couldn't do it in New Orleans. Cat hasn't done it in Minnesota. Like, and the rest of the bigs, they great, but they're not the superstars. So I don't understand, Rashad. You got to answer for us, because I just that's just hilarious.
Yeah, after what happened in the playoffs, I was thinking then they're gonna move for sure Ben and probably even Tobias. So you just gotta watch certain teams now. Like, once the Olympics is over, that's when like the Dame talks can really, really heat up. He's not trying to. He on a whole different time zone. He's not trying to be distracted with this. He already just telling y'all like, look, I'll talk about that later. Mm-hmm. I'm the main source. If you don't come from me, don't worry about it. So, if Ben and Tobias are both moved, it'll be in separate trades. So, I think you just got to watch the Blazers. You got to watch the Kings. Because if you're gonna move something, you got to try to get back an elite player. So we got to still keep an eye on the Bradley Beal thing. He's over there right now too. Let's see what happens with Bradley Beal. The Wizards just blew their team up with the Russ thing. They got back Kuzma and some other pieces. So we got to still watch that. Let's see what happens with, of course, Dame and CJ. You got to watch Sacramento. I think they're a dark horse. I think Buddy Hield and or Fox could get moved in some trades. Another team to probably look at might be the Mavs. The Mavs might be in either the Mavs or the Cavs, because I can see like a Tobias, Kevin Love, Colin Sexton type trade to Philly, something like that. That'll still be some spacing, another guard. Like, it's just certain teams you got to kind of look out for. They got the pieces and the contracts that can make something shake. Outside of that, I don't think anybody else got the assets to make anything really move.
I like that.
So we got to see how it plays out. Like the Ben
like
thing,
Buddy.
I thought was done pre-draft.
I like that Buddy Fox one. If you can get it to Philly, you probably can't get both though. Sacramento, there's no way you let both.
No, you would have to do a 2 for 2 if you want to get both. But I I just feel like
I mean, shit, the
De'Aaron Fox
Kings got like
is
5 guards.
James Harden is.
They drafted Mitchell from Baylor, and he got what's this guy named with the funky shot? Halliburton. They got him. So I mean, I guess you got you can let Buddy go, right? If you really,
I mean, yeah, you let Buddy go, but I don't. I think Philly should be aiming for like the De'Aaron Fox. I think what they're aiming for ain't nobody trying to get because they still feel like Ben Simmons. Like I think De'Aaron Fox right now is better than Ben Simmons. But Philly trying to value like they're doing Sacramento a favor by taking De'Aaron Fox off their hands, and they want like De'Aaron Fox and a bunch of future firsts for Ben Simmons. So I don't know what Philly doing. They the most confusing ones as far as what they trying to get done to ultimately make some trades happen. Just because like I said, I understand the aiming high and having a settling price, but it don't seem like Daryl Morey willing to settle, and he's acting like. He pulled off the James Harden trade, and so now he's acting like he come to Philly, and he's coming to Philly and can make the same thing happen for Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons isn't James Harden, and that was once Ben Simmons' value. Is like he could have been traded for Harden. His value is not the same no more. So that's kind of I don't know what Philly doing.
I think the Fox for Ben swap makes a lot of sense because you have Ben got a buddy around him. You got to put shooting around. That's all you got to do. I don't know why it's so hard. Let's move on to another team though. So we stay in the East, Chicago.
I think Daryl Morey is smart though. I think he's being smart because it's just like anything else. You gotta keep your price up here, so when you negotiate, you coming down to get the deal you actually want. Like if you want $70,000 for your job, you got to go in there and say I want 75. You can't go in there and say I want 68. You ain't even hitting your 70. Then you got to go up, and then when the price come down, you really hit your mark. Just like selling a house. All that. Two
teams in the East trying to make moves with to defend against the Bucks and defend against the Nets. Shout out to superstar Patty Mills for signing to the Nets though. But Miami Heat and Chicago Bulls they made a lot of splashes. We always talk about like when the big markets are good, that's when the NBA is at its best. The Lakers are back. The Knicks like the last season are back. And now the Heat took a year off a little bit after the championship run, but now you got Kyle Lowry going down there. They re-signed Duncan Robinson, re-signed Jimmy Butler, and then you got Chicago making the splash, getting Lonzo, DeRozan, even bringing over Caruso, bringing some defense to the Chicago Bulls instead of all this offense. So the big markets are making splashes. Even the Knicks signed Evan Fournier. That's another team. Another big market making a splash. So. The East looking like it's is making some noise, trying to compete, and that's what you like about when you have these great teams. The other teams like, okay, how can we get better real fast?
Yeah, as a Heat fan though, I don't love the move like everybody else do. Like I know a lot of people love that Kyle Lowry.
I'm a Kyle Lowry guy. I like that. Be careful.
I like it for next season. Like I like Lowry in Miami for next season,
right.
But I just don't like paying him. 3 years. He took there is no team option. I think it's a player option, but there is no team option. So at the age of 38, he's not turning down $30 million. Even the Jimmy Butler contract.
Jimmy getting paid $50 million
at 36. And I don't think Jimmy game gonna age well. He definitely not gonna be worth $50 million at the age of 36. I like what Miami look like. Now. Yeah, he's not worth it now. Yeah, let alone. So I like what Miami looked like going into next season. Like I like. Because I'm a Kyle Lowry fan, but at the same time, like I would have hesitated if I was Phoenix paying Chris Paul for 4 years.
Yeah, right.
Period. I mean, 4 years, 120. I know it's only $30 million a year, but
2 years.
I'm not interested in I'm not interested in paying these old guys where I'm stuck with you. Chris Paul ain't gonna be worth $30 million at the age of 40.
Nope.
Like and even with the Kyle Lowry, I think people were willing to pay him because they're like, well, look how elite Chris Paul was at 36. There's some exceptions to the rule, and right now there's 3 guys I've seen do it. At an age, it's LeBron, Chris Paul, and Tom Brady. In sports, those are 3 exceptions to a rule of Father Tom hasn't really smacked them in the face yet. So, but I do love Kyle Lowry for Miami next season. Only thing is, I'm like, they did that, and they're now what? Probably the 4th best team in the Eastern Conference right now. Like, they did all that to maybe lock up the 4 seed. That's why I don't love it. It's like, there wasn't a move we could have made better than that, but I just, like, getting Lowry, we're the 4th best team in the East right now if it starts.
I think with Miami, though, it's kind of similar to Milwaukee. Your big 3 is defense. Like,
yeah.
So I guess that's who can provide offense. And I think that's what you have to do if you want to stop Brooklyn. You're gonna have to guard them at some point, and then even with Chicago, like they went defense. Like you're gonna have to stop the offense of the Brooklyn Nets, and I think that's where we see the East teams are going. And then for the Knicks, who play too much damn defense, had to go get Evan Fournier, so they put the ball in the basket. So you gotta try to match the. I think that's where everybody chases, because we still probably all believe that Brooklyn probably the best team, even though Milwaukee won. Is like when you got KD on the floor and Harden at the 100% best. That's two probably top 5 players, and that's already hard to stop. And you got adding Kyrie Irving behind it. So I think the teams in the East, they had to do what they had to do.
I mean, yeah, I do like to add in PJ Tucker, and then most recently getting Markieff Morris. So like you said, they building this team on defense. They'll figure out Kyle Lowry can score. It's not like he can't. Right. Jimmy Butler can score. It's not like he can't. They're not elite scorers, but they'll do the job that needs to be done. I need Bam to play. I need him to take the step we thought he was going to take last year. But as far as Miami, I do like now that they rounded it out with PJ Tucker. They got a knockdown shooter in Duncan Robinson. Hopefully Tyler Hero. He pointed out, coming from year 1 to year 2, I didn't have that off season to get that work in to really, improve. So now that he has a full off season, I'm hoping to see him take the next step, come off the bench, maybe be a really good 6-man in his 3rd year in the league. So I like what they got going. I just look at, I don't know if Miami was a team that should have made moves thinking about this season. I still think part of them has to think about the future, because like there wasn't a move they could have made to beat Brooklyn fully healthy. Like you got to hope something happens. I don't even think they beat Milwaukee in the 7-game series fully healthy. I think they could compete a lot better this year, but I do think like Miami was a team. I think they needed to approach this like the Knicks did. And was like, we don't need to make the biggest move because it's not about this season. But because they were ahead of schedule with Jimmy Butler actually making it to the finals in the bubble, I think that rushed everything Miami had planned on doing. I think it was a 3 or 4 year plan. Making it finals year 1 again, Jimmy Butler kind of means like, yeah, we all in. We got to get back there again. So I think Miami rushing it a little bit, but I do think they'll be very competitive, and they'll be a very good team at least next year.
I mean, competitive as in 2nd round exit competitive, yeah. But I'm still waiting to see how the East is gonna stack up. The East isn't done shaking out yet. Like it's still Brooklyn and Milwaukee at the top. Everybody else, we gotta wait and see how it shakes out. The Hawks got to figure out the John Collins thing. He's a restricted free agent, so that could be a big sign and trade to somebody. So that could swing what the Hawks do. Boston is pretty quiet right now, and they lost Fournier, so they're going to have like a trade exception, and they still can make some moves too. So I'm still waiting to see how that's going to shake out. Chicago made some cool moves, getting DeRozan, got Lonzo Ball to pair with Vucevic and Levine. So they'll be an interesting team. We just talked about Miami, Kyle Lowry, him, Chris Paul. They were saying this was the point guard free agency, but these guys all got overpaid. You're going to be paying these dudes 38, 39, 40 years old, $30 million. That ain't it. These guys are not LeBron James. Like LeBron James can make that kind of money. Michael Jordan, when you're 38, 39, you can make $30, $40 million. But Chris Paul, who's never really been healthy, Kyle Lowry, who, a lot of stuff he brings to the table is intangible, but if you're trying to make a big 3 with Jimmy, who got hella miles from his Tibbs days and in Miami, Bam is starting to emerge, but it's a steal into his game. And now you're going to bring in Kyle Lowry on as like a big 3. I'm not really feeling that. So the East is still got to shake out, man. I want to still see what the Hawks do, see what Boston does. And then once things kind of shake out, we'll see how it stacks up. But the Knicks made a couple of moves. The teams that are in the playoffs are all really kind of just staying lateral to me. Like nobody really got better as of yet.
Hey, we're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be right back. All right, we back. Rashad, you talked about the big 3 didn't really move you in Miami. So what about Chicago as far as this is a type of team that's probably building for the future, because we're not talking about old Kyle Lowry and old Jimmy Butler, but you got Alonzo Ball and Levine who are on the rise, and you have a guy like Vucevic who in my rankings the top 5 center. And you got DeRozan, who, I feel for some reason get a lot of disrespect, and maybe that's because Toronto couldn't get over the hump until they got Kawhi, which that's not really fair to DeRozan when he's not a superstar. So you hold him to that level. That's kind of your fault a little bit. But Chicago, man, we got my boy Art from Denver as a president of basketball operations over there. So he been learning how to build a team. And you're talking about Chicago, who couldn't defend. I watched the Bulls in Miami game this past April, and I was saying like, Duncan Robinson came out and splashed like 5 threes in the first quarter because nobody can get around a pick and roll. So I'm like, so that would seem like the priority. Like, how can we stop giving up these guard games where the guard go for 40 and we can't do nothing? So Kobe White, don't know what's gonna happen to him, but now you're adding Levine, you're adding DeRozan on top of the trade for Vucevic. Now you're looking at a playoff team. You got what, 3 guys who are borderline all-stars. So it's Chicago. I mean, like you said, it might not be a contender to contend with Bucks and Milwaukee, but this is a team that if you get a second round exit, I don't think that's a bad season.
Yeah, the Bulls they made some solid moves. Like, to get DeMar, like, I would have preferred they go get Kyle Lowry. You could have paired up DeMar and Kyle together. You could have really just tried to make a little 2-year push, like, not for like a championship, just to see where you really are, and then you could have moved off Kyle and kind of kept just retooling. But I mean, we still got to see what happened with Zach LaVine. He want to get paid, so they're kind of tied. They're basically going to tie themselves to DeMar for the next 3 years. Vucevic, I think he's locked up for the next 2 or 3 years, and you just gave Lonzo Ball his money, so you're tying your hands to that, and they're going to probably pay Zach too. But they're going to have a lot of playmakers. I mean, DeMar put up, I thought, 3 great seasons in San Antonio. He just couldn't make the All-Star team because the West is just too deep at the guard spot. I mean, this dude had his 3 best assist years with the Spurs. Like, he almost averaged, I think he had like 7 assists this year, and then the other 2 years he was averaging 6 assists. He was still putting up 21 to 23 a game, still giving you 5-6 boards. Yeah. I mean, efficient as hell. He gonna be about 85% from the line, about 48, 49 field goal. He efficient as hell.
Smart too, because what DeRozan weakness is 3-point shooting, right? Who can all shoot threes? Vucevic, Levine, like even Lonzo getting better. So that's
Kobe White.
Bro, this is perfect. Like, I regardless of if they win a championship, that's how you build a team. I just like it. I just like the. You perform there, whatever their weakness is, you get to hide it. Like, DeRozan don't have to shoot the 3, or Levine can't facilitate. Oh, I got DeRozan and Lonzo. Like, it's you matching up the weakness of your stars and you complement it very well. I mean, you can't go wrong.
Yeah, I love what Chicago did. I mean, if I had to pick a winner of free agency, I would say Chicago. I mean, I know everybody looks at who's best suited to compete for a championship, but I mean, we talking about that number 4 spot in the Eastern Conference. To me, is wide open. You got Brooklyn and Milwaukee, who probably head and heels over everybody. Then I would say even Philly as constructed right now, probably the 3rd best team, maybe Atlanta. But then you got Atlanta, Boston, Miami, New York, Chicago, possibly the Pacers. I think the Hornets might make some noise, like LaMelo play fully healthy. I'm not saying they're going to be a great team, but I'm just saying like that 4 through 10 spot in the Eastern Conference could swing a whole bunch of different ways. And I think Chicago really did themselves some favors adding Lonzo. I don't think they overpaid for Lonzo either. Then they got, like you said, DeRozan, everybody that they got, they'll have Kobe White coming off the bench. So, I mean, Vucevic and Levine coming off an all-star season. So we'll finally get a full season of Vucevic in the Bulls uniform. So I think with the Bulls, I think they could be that team. They get the right matchup. They do go in the, they win the first round, but depending on who they play, I mean, what if Chicago goes in the second round and ends up somehow, some way matching up against a team like Philly? We've seen Philly get upset once, you know what I'm saying, with Doc Rivers being able to fold. So, like, I'm not saying Chicago going to go to the Eastern Conference Finals, but what I'm saying, they have a team that if they get the right matchup each time, they could beat any of those 4 seeds and below. I think they match up well with any of those guys. And then if they get the right matchup, maybe somehow Milwaukee dinged up for that kind of, that series in the second round. Like, it's not unrealistic to see a team like Chicago go into the playoffs fully healthy and really being able to make some noise. They can run with you. They play defense. I guess we'll just have to see how the chemistry goes. And I don't see that being a problem. Lonzo's a distributor, quiet guy, don't talk much, don't seem like, a head case. DeRozan's the same way, and I think he's got a chip on his shoulder, especially like now the lights. It's in Chicago. The lights are on him. Expectations will probably rise a little bit in Chicago. So, I love what Chicago did. Once they got Lonzo, I loved it. And then, being able to add DeRozan, I just really loved what they did this offseason.
And then I think another big piece that we're not mentioning is the Laurie situation, because that's probably going to be a sign and trade where wherever he goes, whatever assets you can get back for that, it might just be picks, but if you can get a nice small forward can play power. You got Patrick Williams there, who I think could be one of the best defenders in the league. He could just need time, and then you brought a Caruso, and that's another, a very underrated role player like signing where, whether Lonzo get hurt or Levine, whatever you want to do, you can play a 3-guard set sometimes in a game. Like you got the ability with the length of Levine and the length of Lonzo. You got the opportunity to throw it out there.
That's the only signing I don't like.
I
don't like the Caruso.
I ain't like the money. I like the signing, just not the money.
I'm not a so like, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to. I'm not a fan of Caruso like that. And the reason why I'm not a fan of Caruso is he get a lot of props. And I feel like, you know what I'm saying, not to bring, but I feel like if Caruso was given the same production and was black, he wouldn't be.
Oh, of course.
Like, I don't think he would be that much, to be honest. Like, I just think.
Do you remember what Otto Porter was just getting paid?
Yeah, but just, bro, like Caruso you look at his stats, like his best. I'm not even all about points guy. I think, sometimes stats don't tell everything. Like, he's coming off a season where he averaged 6 points a game. Like, he did average 1 steal. He did average like 2 assists, but like, I'm paying that guy what? What's he getting about?
I think it was like 4 years, 37.
37. So he's getting about $9 million.
Yeah.
It's not a lot, but it's like, bro, I'm going to lock up Caruso. He's kind of a journeyman guy to me. 1 or 2 year deals, find his way around the league type of guy, not a 4-year signing.
I think you're paying him to, you're looking at like the role that he could possibly play. And, when you got a 4-guard set and then you have a guy like DeRozan, Caruso's role looking like is more of a come in, play defense. And definitely if somebody get hurt, we can trust you to play the 20, 25 minutes. I think that's, and whether you think that's $9 million worth it or not, that's where whatever. But I like the signing because like if you're coming off the bench with Kobe White, you got to have another punch with him, and Kobe White offense, Caruso defense, and Caruso he like one of those Kyle Lowry guys where he do the dirty work that that people not going pay attention to, and like the Draymond Green, he's in that category of. He might not do nothing on the stat sheet, but he won't be Tony Snell. Like, what I'm saying? Like, he's not gonna give you 32 minutes.
Yeah, he's not gonna give you 0, 0, 0, 0 down the board.
But he'll get a highlight steal and make a big play. I think that's kind of what and bring energy. That's kind of what you need off the bench sometimes. And if in the playoffs, he might can go for 15 points because he can knock down the 3-shot too as well. So so it's possible. That I get what you're saying. I saw the money. I was like, Like before I divided it, I was like, that's kind of a lot total.
No, it's just the LeBron effect.
Yeah. But if you give somebody like DeRozan and Lonzo, I feel like that's it's not like it's going to be a bad
guys
thing as far
get paid.
as,
Guys get paid fooling with LeBron though. Like just coming off. That's why Caruso's so well known. I mean, it's not like all thanks to LeBron, but I mean, he played on the LeBron team. What team is in the spotlight the most? LeBron James and whoever he plays with. So, we got to see Caruso. And then I think, it's not that it's a racist thing, but I think, Caruso being a high flying, can put a guy on a poster being white, I think it builds up a little bit of his persona than, the Caruso out in LA. Like, I think all of that, ultimately made him like, when you look at that, yeah, he's a guy who do some of the dirty work, but even still, like, it's not to the effect. Like, I think he'll fade away. I think you won't hear much from him. He'll be in Chicago. No focus will be on him, so maybe he does. That helps his production. But I think he'll just fade away, and like I think it might be a point you even forgot they ever signed him, and he's even there. Like, I wouldn't be surprised because I think somebody could easily take his spot. Just like easily, I think you could go without playing him like that, and he wouldn't have no burden on the success of the Chicago Bulls. Unless an injury happens, then you'll see more of them. But I think, up until then, Kobe White going to be the primary guy coming off the bench. So I just don't know how Caruso really fits in. I mean, yeah, playing defense, but for what? Give me 12, 15 minutes a game playing defense. Other than that, I just don't see where he fit in much.
This would be a perfect.
In 2 years, if it don't work out, he got to move a contract though.
Yeah, this would be a perfect soundbite to play at Caruso's Hall of Fame speech.
If he ever gets to the Hall of Fame, it will be the perfect one for him to go ahead and play and be like, "This is how I made the Hall of Fame right here. This is the motivation I needed."
So as we switch, I'm gonna switch to the West Side. Somebody who's making the Hall of Fame. We talked about it earlier. Chris Paul going back to Phoenix. I was very vocal. I was at the Suns. Don't do it. Do not get this man 40. Because now when he signed for $30 million, I said, okay, that's not as bad as I thought. Because when you turn down $44 million, I'm like, what the hell do he want? Like
long term.
Like he wanted the long term. So I understand you brought me here. I took you to the finals. You ain't been in the finals since 1993. You ain't been in the playoffs since Steve Nash. Well, I think Georgia got in there 1 year, but you ain't really been consistent in the playoffs or spotlight since Steve Nash. Like, you got to pay me. I get that. I understand that 100%. But at the same time, respectfully, hell no. Like I can't give you the 4. I'd rather front load the hell out of a contract, give you 2. Like, instead, like if he got 4 for 120, I'd rather make that 2 be like worth $90 million. Like just to give you that, and then the last 2 years I can cut you. I gotta get you out of here. I gotta trade the contract. Like that just there's no way he got. I mean, I know you said Father Time ain't really. Father Time been picking at Chris Paul for a long time actually, but he ain't really taking him out.
He's been picking at him, but he was able to play elite. At 36, he was able to play in the finals. So, like,
that's true.
He's not as much as the exception, but I wouldn't have paid him. I'm sorry. 4 years?
I can't do it. I can't
4?
do
it. I didn't like it about Kyle Lowry. I'm not doing the same thing with Chris Paul, especially because he got an injury history. Hell, we thought he was about to be out for the playoffs against the Lakers when he had that shoulder injury. We thought he was done then, and we like, man,
here you go again.
A good thing going. Once again, here go to Chris Paul's story. Like, he getting injured. So 4 years for a guy who might be there most of the regular season, the whole regular season, may not be there in the playoffs, or may get hurt at any point in the playoffs. And I think Chris Paul contract really gonna be untradeable unless you trade him mid-season this year. Like, after that, is anybody gonna really want to take on a Chris Paul contract? The Lakers is out. Like, they're not taking on that contract no more because they got Russell Westbrook. Right. So now, like, LeBron ain't gonna be begging to bring Chris Paul in there after next season. So I just don't see a lot of teams that's gonna want Chris Paul, who signed for the next 3 years at $30 million a year, and he don't have it's not a team option. I think the 4th year, if I'm not mistaken, is a player option, or is just 4 years straight. So, like, he gonna get his money regardless, or he gonna get bought out. So Chris Paul getting paid regardless that 120 or very close to it, regardless of whether he finishes in Phoenix, gets traded. It don't matter. He not, bro. He what, the president of the Players Association? You know what he was doing?
Smart.
He knew what he was doing.
Man, the last 2 years with OKC and Phoenix, regular season wise, have been the healthiest he's been. He played 70 games back to back, which is pretty much a rarity for him. I mean, 16, 17 points, about 8 assists. I mean, he's going to always be a guy that dang near gets 50, 40, 90 splits. But at his age, I mean, just considering the history of his body and stuff like that, to me, it was you either opt in or we gonna just go ahead and cut our losses. I wouldn't give him no contract. You gotta opt in, and then we'll evaluate you on the next one. But I mean, I think Phoenix paid for his path. They paid him for his legacy pretty much.
They paid him.
Like, I wouldn't have paid him on legacy, and I wouldn't have paid him on circumstances, because they only got to the finals because LeBron and AD got hurt. They should have been out the first round in 5 games. But they got lucky multiple times.
Denver,
you got
Jamal
Lakers
Murray.
beat up. Damn, you got Lakers beat up. Kawhi goes down. Jamal Murray's not there for the Nuggets. I mean, they should have been out multiple times. I mean, if they would have won the finals, at that point, paying what the hell, paying whatever the hell you want to pay him. But based on circumstances where you should have been out the first round, I wouldn't have gave him that kind of money. Opt in, or we'll give you a 1+1, but that's it. If that means you feel disrespected and you sign somewhere else, that's cool with me. Yeah, I mean, we'll sign and trade you for another team, but to give him that kind of money, he's gonna be 40 when the contract ends. I honestly don't think he'll finish the deal. I think he's gonna wind up being a Luol Deng. He's gonna have to get stretched out. Like his contract has to get stretched out for a while. But I think Chris Paul gonna wind up being like a Luol Deng, Gilbert Arenas. Somebody he's gonna be getting paid when he's not even playing anymore because like the deal is just too long. I don't think his body can hold up. Like, bro, he is a small guard. Like he's 6 feet. I mean, come on.
If they cared about winning,
he came in the league 05-06. His deal will end in 25, 26.
That's crazy.
You're not gonna make it 20 years on a small guard unless he content averaging like 13 points a game at that point. His stats gonna start to down at some point.
You would think like if you were content to win, I think we all agree that the Suns need another scoring option, consistent scoring option, and with like just think about it, like the Detroit Pistons, like the bad boys when Isaiah Thomas, Joe Dumars, and they always had a small forward who can put the ball in the basket. Everybody seemed to forget the Adrian Dantleys of the world. Like they seem to forget that part. And Mark McGuire is like you have to score the basketball from the wing position. And yeah, we love Devin Booker, of course, and we love Chris Paul. But I mean, who are you gonna sign? I mean, I guess they got JaVale McGee, but who else you gonna sign to come in and help? Because that's why they lost. That's why they lost the series. Like Giannis, Drew, and Chris Middleton put up what game that was when they all put up like the greatest game of all time, like as far as a big three in the finals. Like I think it was game 5 or something like that. They all had 20, almost 30 points apiece. The Suns can't do that. They're not capable of doing that.
Nah, they're capable of somebody stepping up and getting 15. The Chris Paul to me was just sticky situation, period. Like when Miami, you just seen a lot of teams, Miami will be interested. I'm like, lose interest. Like, no, Pat Riley know better than it's like you hear the name Chris Paul, and it's like, all right, yeah, maybe at age 37 he do what he's done, what we've seen the past 2 years with OKC and even Phoenix. But like you said, don't overvalue what he did with Phoenix. Like there was some just this whole season, and it's not to take away from a champ or nothing, but don't overvalue situation, appreciate the situation, take it for what it was worth, your first finals trip. But don't think like, man, we're gonna turn around, run it back. Like everybody can't have this run it back mentality. I mean, look at the Lakers, blew it up, like in a sense. Outside they two players blew it up. So it's like you can't have this run it back mentality, and then you think they weren't steps ahead of everybody where everybody got to play catch up. Well, I think a lot of teams in the East are trying to play catch up to Brooklyn because they're like, all right, Milwaukee won the chip, but Brooklyn, they probably coming back healthy next year. They're going to be the favorite. So everybody ain't playing catch up to Phoenix. Going into next season, if all teams came back as constructed healthy, Phoenix maybe the 5th best team going into the West. Like
Warriors
at the beginning of the season.
Nuggets passed them. Lakers,
the Lakers, like even the Lakers could have brought the same team, but been healthy. The Lakers are better. The Nuggets, the Clippers are still better. The Warriors are still better.
Jazz signed Conley and Rudy Gay. They passed them. Like
like there's not like they weren't light years ahead of everybody. Where you're like, oh yeah, we could keep Chris Paul because everybody gonna be playing catch up. Like I think you could have used that $30 million a year elsewhere. I'm not saying DeMar DeRozan.
When you said sign Rashad, you said go sign Lonzo. They should have signed like that. What I would have done. I'd rather pay Lonzo and go get younger and go get a small forward. He was cheaper. Yeah,
and he was cheaper. And I think you could have got Alonzo. I think you could have pitched Alonzo to come play with Devin Booker as a duo. I mean, he was interested in Chicago and played with Levine. So why would he not want to go play with a team that just went to the finals, a young duo? Him and Devin Booker will be like a tandem for years to come.
I mean, it's basically the same thing.
Yeah, like pretty much. Like it's pretty much the same thing except Chris Paul. I mean, Lonzo, 6'7", and a much better defender than CP3 right now at this stage of his career. So I don't know, man. I love Chris Paul.
I love Chris Paul. He got bullied though. Drew bullied.
Yeah, like I love Chris Paul. I just don't love. I don't love the. Yeah, that's just. anybody who paid him, it was going to be stupid. Like I did think that. 3-4 years, anybody who paid him outside of 2, it was going to be dumb. So,
no, just give it a year or 2. We'll see Devin Booker asking for a trade because they're not replicating this success. I mean, they're not getting back to the finals. They're not getting back to the West Finals. As long as LeBron James is standing healthy, he going to the West Finals. Like that I mean, that's just a given.
I'm about to say if LeBron's healthy, and Kawhi's healthy, that's probably 2 teams penciled in the second round already.
I mean, then you look at like just it's the Warriors. Like they can attract people to come out there. Like so, you're not even going to be one of the 3 best teams in the West just based off of that. I mean, yeah, injuries happen, all that kind of stuff, but I'm gonna give it a year or 2. Booker or somebody's gonna be asking out for a trade, and Phoenix gonna be starting over, and then Chris Paul money just gonna be irrelevant because everywhere he's been, I'm not saying he's a bad guy. He's a great leader. People love playing with him, but every team he's been on, at some point, there's a burnout effect. Like him and Harden couldn't play together. Well, that's Harden fault or Chris Paul's fault. It didn't work. With the Clippers, they tried it for 4 or 5 years. Him and Blake, they had some stuff going on in the locker room, egos, whose team is it, all that kind of stuff. Just the burnout of we're not getting past the hump, injuries. Same thing when he was with New Orleans, Pelicans, Hornets, whatever you want to call them. It's a burnout effect with Chris Paul. So I just think it's bound to happen with this team. Like at some point, DeAndre Ayton gonna get fed up. Devin Booker gonna be like, man, this my team, bro. You still know my all-star bids anyway because they think you the leader of the team, the MVP. So at some point, man, it's gonna be a trade. Give it a year or 2. Phoenix gonna be starting over. I mean, James Jones, he's a dope GM and everything, but I think at some point they got to start over.
Until they get somebody who can score the basketball, like they need a I don't even think they need a star like somebody of Wiggins caliber that can give you 20 points. Somebody, because like I said, the Suns are not complete. They cannot score with the big 3 of the Bucks when all 3 of those guys are scoring. Chris Paul can't do it. Ayton can't do it. Like especially not consistently. Like you might get a 40 point for Chris Paul, but how many times he scored 40 this playoff? Like twice. Like so.
Yeah, I think Booker. See, the thing with Booker is like Rashad said, he might ask out for a trade because if he don't, I see Booker and Phoenix being Dame in Portland. I'm staying loyal to the organization. I'm getting my money. We had, Dame had that one run, where they went to the Western Conference Finals. And then for the past couple of years, he's been living off, I love Dame. He's a star player, but he's been living off, that game when he hit on Paul George and Kawhi. But the whole thing is like Dame to me can't be the best player on the championship team. And so you see him stay loyal to Portland and all this. He don't want out. Well, Dame, if you don't leave, you're never going to get a championship. They're not going to be able to bring the right pieces because if it means that you're going to be the best player on the team, you're not winning a championship. I think Devin Booker is going to end up being the same way. And I think this past year was like, this was his opportunity to steal the championship. While it's never easy to win a ring, but this would have been the easiest opportunity for Devin Booker to steal a ring before the future of the league even got one, before the Jason Tatum, Donovan Mitchell, Luka. He'd have been the first of the future superstars to win that championship. Now Giannis was able to steal that ring, get his first ring, entering his prime. And now it don't seem like Phoenix can really, it don't seem like a path for Phoenix to get back unless injuries like this happen again.
It's going to have to be. And that's just something that you don't want to predict. Like if you're just going to take injuries out and just roll with the punches, like are we sitting here saying the Suns are going to be better than the Nuggets or the Mavericks? Like,
yeah, even in the future,
because Luka and Jokic are better players than either one of Chris Paul or Devin Booker. So, so that's 2 more teams adding to the pot. So, Suns what 7-8 now? Like, which means what they going home first round playing the Lakers or playing the Clippers if Kawhi back healthy. So it's a bad situation to be in because it was. You had to win the championship, like Rashad said, and you could pay him whatever. Who gives a damn? You didn't what? So, like, give us the next 20 years. Who cares if we never win again? Like, we good. We can live off this 2021 championship forever. And because you didn't win, yeah. Like, what's next? And That's a problem. I mean, I ain't want to kill the Suns this bad, but damn, but that's just what it is.
Because it's not killing the team. It's just being. It was a bad contract. Like if the Heat had made, went and got Chris Paul, I'd say the same thing. Like it's a bad contract to pay a guy. We talk about, we hesitate on paying certain players on the wrong side of 30. We talking about paying a guy on the wrong side of 35. Like he will be 40 at the end of this contract. That's terrible.
It's worth the deal right now. They are debating, is Kawhi Leonard at 29, 30 years old worth of max deal?
Because of his injuries.
Has had multiple injuries and is 36.
And is getting 30 mil a year. And like you sitting here, Kawhi gonna return to the Clippers. I mean, I almost think any other team to sign Kawhi to a max would probably be stupid. Only because you don't know. They say it's degenerative. They say this could be an occurring problem. And so, like, I don't want to tie my money up into Kawhi, trying to acquire him if I'm going to get him 40 games a season and then hopefully a postseason. Kawhi is one of those. If I was a team, like just bringing up Kawhi, he's a guy, if I was a team in this offseason and they say he's interested, he'll entertain teams, I would not talk to Kawhi Leonard. I would have learned a lesson around the league after what he did to the Lakers. The Lakers was convinced he was going to sign, he was going to be a Laker. They wasted, like, all these free agents get signed because they was all in on Kawhi. And last minute, boom, they get Paul George. He signs with the Clippers. And that was when, even though the Lakers won the championship off of it later, but the Lakers ended up scrounging around for a bunch of one-year deals. And that wasn't even, they were trying to do that with Kawhi. They ended up having to scrounge around for one-year deals to get the scraps left over free agency. So if I'm a team, I wouldn't go all in on Kawhi. If he's really serious, cool. Maybe we can figure out a way to do it. But if not, bro, I'll leave Kawhi alone for you, bamboozle you, and allow you to not be competitive again. And then, I'm staying with the Clippers anyway. So Kawhi's a guy I'd stay away from. He a weird case. I think the Clippers should just sign him, keep him in LA. But other teams, Kawhi just a weird case. I'm not the biggest Kawhi fan.
Kawhi should have never left Toronto.
Hey, how y'all feel about this new story coming out about Russ called Kawhi, but Kawhi hit the hotline bling on Paul George, and now Russ it didn't work out. I mean, I'm not mad at it. I mean, to me, that's the game. Like, that's people call each other all the time. Like, just because you called on me, I gotta be like, all right, but we're gonna team up. Like, shoot, Kawhi don't have the kind of game that wants to play with Russ. I mean, him and PG probably been wanting to play together for a minute. I mean, so I wouldn't trip off for it, but some people in the media think he playing dirty.
If you remember Kawhi, though, Kawhi had a list of 3 players he wanted to play with. Allegedly, I don't, when it don't come from Kawhi, but there's people who say close to the situation said he ended up getting the guy who was 3rd on his list.
Yeah, he wanted Jimmy Butler,
Paul George. He wanted Harden or Jimmy Butler ahead of Paul George, but those were the 3 guys. He's like, I'll go to the Clippers if you could give me any one of these 3. Ultimately, Jimmy Butler didn't go or whatever. But I mean, for Kawhi if Russ called him and say, hey, bro, I want to team up with you, and Kawhi's like, yeah, no, I got another guy in mind. I don't blame him. Like, it's nothing wrong with,
Exactly.
You can't accept everybody. Like, nah, bro, we won't play good together. Nah, I don't want to strap the narrative, we can't win with you. Yeah, maybe he feel that way. So I don't blame him. It's not wrong, bro. Like, everybody don't have to play with everybody. It's okay. Like, Kawhi had his list of 3. Russ wasn't on that list. He's like, nah, bro, I want Paul George. That's my 3 right there. I don't blame Kawhi.
I'm about to say the last topic is the Lakers. So that's a good segue into it. Like, I'm not on the so we've seen the moves that they made. They got Melo. They brought in Malik Monk. They brought in Wayne Ellington. They brought in who else I'm missing? They brought in Dwight Howard.
Kendrick Nunn.
Which to me, I thought that was a good move because of the youth movement. But when Russ got traded there initially, I said people say like, oh, they can't play together. They can't, whatever. I'm saying, like, who fault is it that they don't put shooting around him? And as a GM, if Rob Pelinka don't go out here and sign the shooters to put around him, then that is his fault. I still blame the Sixers for letting go of Bellinelli, Ilyasova, JJ Redick in one offseason and said, let's just give him Jimmy Butler and let's just give him Tobias Harris and hope Ben Simmons can shoot. Like, that's their fault. That's being stupid. So I'm glad that Rob Pelinka, like, when the trade happened, I was like, well, as long as they go get a shooter, I don't care. Like, and they put enough shooters around him, And the thing is, I know a lot of people like, Wayne Ellington, somebody said was like, well, if he ain't making no shots, what else he doing? And I was like, well, he make a valid point. But he got to shoot. Can't do nothing else.
That's it though. Like that's all you need. That's all you bring a Wayne Ellington in there to do.
That's it. Nothing else.
Everybody like, well, he can't play defense. So what? I got 4 other guys. I can hide. You can hide. There's star players who don't play no defense. Yeah. Trae Young get hit on defense, and he's a star. He can do everything else. He can't play defense. So it's like, if Trae Young off offensively, at least he can play make. But like he don't play no defense. You hide him. You hide Wayne Ellington. You put him in there with LeBron and AD and Russ and somebody else and Melo and call it a day. Like he ain't hit no shots. Or you put him right on the bench for that game. Tonight, not your night, bro. I bring in Kendrick Nunn or Malik Monk. Maybe they hit some shots. I got Melo. And you call it a night. Like there's no, if he not hitting shots, it's not his night. That's his job. Is hit 3-pointers. If he ain't hitting 3-pointers, it's not his night. You put him right on the bench. They're a deep team, especially at the guard position. I mean, they got 2 young guards coming off the bench. They still got Russ. They got Melo, who I don't know if he'll end up turning to be a catch and shoot player, but he can shoot well enough that he can play that catch and shoot role for the Lakers. I don't know if that's all he wants to do. I think whatever his role needs to be,
I think
he will do it. But catch and shoot has never been Melo, but I know he has the shooting ability to do it. I just don't know if he ever wanted to just be a catch and shoot guy.
I really care.
But he reinvented himself in Portland, though.
Like, yeah, he did. He did.
That's true. I don't care what nobody say about it, because what the Lakers did by getting Russ is you guarantee LeBron's health. Like you can LeBron had to bring his, like I said earlier, without LeBron Davis, Lakers sorry. Like that's just what it was on the roster last year. And so LeBron don't bring his A game, AD don't bring his A game, or they not there, you're going to lose. You're going to be sorry. You don't have the other. That's why we had to go get a Drummond in the buyout market, and you're relying on a Schroeder, and that's why people get mad at. Oh, KCP, sorry. Well, you're trying to ask him to score 20 every night. That's not KCP. So now you got Russ, who's going to be 100% balls to the wall every day. That's a war. Like you talk about Peter Tucker, talk about dogs. That's a dog. Like Russell Westbrook is going to bring it every night, and LeBron can coast. Like he can coast. We talk about Kyle Lowry and Chris Paul. They got to do everything to help their team. Help Heat to beat Bucks, and he had to bring A plus every time. Chris Paul got to bring 5 A pluses because they ain't got nobody else besides Devin Booker. But like LeBron, like he can have nights where he scores like 15. Russ gonna get you the triple double, and AD is one of the best in the business when he's healthy. So I think that was the Russ deal. And now you put shooters around Russ, you can see LeBron on the damn bench who can, like he can rest. Like it just so versatile when you have somebody like Russ, like who can do it all. Then you got somebody like LeBron who can do it all. So I think that was the biggest thing about the Lakers.
Yeah, I mean, I love what the Lakers did. I mean, first you got Russ. You got rid of guys you didn't want there. Kyle Kuzma. Nobody wanted Kyle Kuzma there. I think he'll flourish somewhere else. Whether it was Sacramento for Buddy Hield, whatever this trade. No, Lakers fans are upset they didn't get Buddy Hield. Well, they didn't get a shooter. All right, well, Wayne Ellington was shooting almost 50% from the 3-point line last year in the Pistons jersey. Right. But because Wayne Ellington ain't a name,
right, exactly,
he don't hold a lot of weight. People don't realize he was almost 50% from the 3-point line. We know what Carmelo is. I know he's older, so that's another thing. People gonna hold the Lakers to the standard. Like I already seen a graphic of how many All-Stars and all NBA teams these guys have made. And I'm like, okay, well, all these guys are over 35. Like
they got 6 Hall of Famers over there, boy.
But the narrative of like they're at their Hall of Fame level right now, like we all know that ain't gonna be true, but that's gonna be the expectation. Dwight Howard's name is going, he's going to the Hall of Fame. We know Russ, LeBron, AD, Melo, those are all going to the Hall of Fame. So what they did was the only thing they could have did right after trading for Russ. You're gonna have to get aging vets, and the fact that you was able to get 2 young guards in Malik Monk and Kendrick Nunn, I think it's perfect. Kendrick Nunn has shown. I know people aren't as high on Malik Monk. He's been, I ain't gonna say a bust, but he hasn't reached his potential yet. But when he's the 7th, 8th guy, maybe 3rd or 4th guy coming off the bench, and he just got to get a bucket. That's it. And offensive productivity isn't relying on him. I think he'll be straight. And we know Kendrick Nunn was the starting point guard for Miami, could get his own bucket. So we know coming off the bench, the offense won't be at a standstill like it was Kendrick Nunn is a better scorer than Alex Caruso.
Right.
And so was Malik Monk. So it's like, you know, the offense would be at a standstill because coming off the bench, it was like Caruso has to run the offense to try and get a bucket. And he can't do it at the level that Nunn or even the flashes that Monk has shown. And they keep the youth. So like you said, I mean, you got a lot of guys who can get buckets. You got a few guys who can shoot. LeBron can chill. I think LeBron low manages this year. I think that's a smart thing to do. You coming off a sprained ankle. I understand he's probably fully healthy now. But, like, I think you low manage. I don't think you play more than 60 games. I don't think you take that chance. You got a team that you wanted to build for a championship. Ride it out. Ride it out to the championship, bro. Pull a Kawhi Leonard because you only getting older. And this might be your last year. Like, this might be your last year. So, if I'm LeBron, I'll just ride it out to the playoffs. Maybe I don't play back-to-backs. You know, I skip a game here there. I don't feel like playing. That's what I got Russ for. Russ going 100%. And I even low manage Russ a little bit, too. I don't play Russ every game. I don't play him no more than 65 to 68 games because he could get banged up the way he go 100% the whole season. So I really consider low managing LeBron and Russ and kind of taking that approach. If we are the best team in the Western Conference at the end of regular season, cool. But if not, it's not about that. We don't care who we match up against. You know, if they get that mindset, it doesn't matter who we match up against. We got to go out and beat whoever. Then I think that'll be the way the Lakers get the most success. And they're going to win games if LeBron doesn't play. Like, they are now set up where if LeBron don't play that night, they're going to win games. They can low manage AD, LeBron, and Russ however they want to do it. But I think that is something that might need to be done for the Lakers to be successful.
Man, 2012 All-Star finna go hard.
hey Mo, tell everybody where they can find you real quick. We only got like a few minutes left.
Oh, yeah. So, hey, I appreciate y'all for having me on, bro.
No
Definitely dope conversation. I'm going to make sure I return the favor. But y'all can find me Twitter, Instagram at Up in Flames Pod, personal account, Mo_Cheese15. I usually use those a little more anyway. But yeah, Apple Podcast, Spotify, Anchor, pretty much anywhere you get your podcast. Check out my YouTube channel, Mo Up in Flames. But yeah, bro, I appreciate y'all for having on, and make sure y'all go check out offtheballnetwork.com.
All right, Rashad, what you want to say before we get out of here?
I said, man, I'm 2012 All-Star finna go hard, man. Don't y'all sleep on no boy. Ain't nobody low, man. You finna have 6 MVP candidates, boy. You got 2012 Melo, 2012 LeBron,
Marcus Gasol,
2012 Westbrook. They finna go crazy over there.
That's crazy. All right, appreciate you joining the show, man. Preach Kev, preach Rashad. We out.